Family and friends, what's poppin'? This is the Unfiltered Gems podcast. I got the energy right now, baby. You know what I'm saying? I turned the whole year older over the weekend, you feel? So it's like y'all listen to some real grown man podcasts and shit now, okay?
Stupid.
That's what we on. Welcome, one and all. Thank y'all for being here. My name is Malcolm Alexander.
And I'm Ryan Hale.
Hale,
what's going on?
What's poppin'? How was your weekend?
Not much. Productive, man. Just been working, bro.
Yeah,
working
man,
like crazy for real. So it's been a solid weekend though. Solid weekend. Not as fun as yours. I saw some videos of a karaoke experience that you had. I wouldn't even say a karaoke night. A karaoke experience.
It was indeed a karaoke experience. we did my birthday.
Forget a night with Silk Sonic. A night with Malcolm Alexander.
Hello, look, the Vegas residency tickets, they're too much money. Y'all come on over here to the Malcolm Alexander karaoke experience, okay? You know what I'm saying? You said an evening with Malcolm Alexander. Oh, no. Just me doing Kanye karaoke because nobody got some vocals from me that night. My voice went out from before I got in the building. And so I look at Victoria, I looked at Jamal, looked at my parents, and said, it's going to be rap songs only tonight, y'all, okay? But yeah, man. No, had just an incredible weekend, man.
That's awesome.
Had an incredible weekend. It started on Thursday, man, because Jamal was DJing here in Long Beach at Panama Joe's. And so started there, and friends came out and showed love. And then Thursday night did dinner, and then did karaoke with my friends, and that was great. And then Saturday, shout out to VCR, y'all. She has an incredible album that's coming out. I can't say when, but very soon. And I DJ'd her album release party and her album listening party this weekend at a goat farm. Y'all, I DJ'd on a goat farm. That shit was dope. The goats was just around. But then there was just 50 folk just there enjoying the music, and it's great because she's from Memphis, right? And it was literally this down south style. The artist herself was cooking peas and spaghetti with Victoria and all their friends, and then all these people start coming, and we had the interns and the assistants were there to help everything in. I just did did my sound, did the lighting, bring entertainment. BringEntertainment.com if y'all need the experience, you know what I'm saying? But I brought that aspect of things, and it was incredible. The music sounds great, and just the experience was great. Victoria with Feather hosted a Q&A with Veronica with VCR after the listening, and it was dope. I'm playing just Southern rap, and I'm playing gospel, and I'm playing R&B, and I'm playing hip hop. It was just a great time. And so by the time we got to Sunday, let me tell y'all, people want to keep turning up. And I said, look, need a few days to recover. So I ducked out Sunday, and I definitely ducked out today. Since we are recording on this fine President's Day, we got the day off. I said, I'm good. No one come find me.
Exactly.
No one come find me.
It's a school night. It's a school night.
It's a school night. For sure. I was like, I need a minute to recover. But I'm back. I'm ready to potty, if you will, with my mans and them. Thank y'all for listening. We want to get right on down to the show because we got just tons of stuff to talk about today. So thank y'all so much, everyone that rocked with our dating special that we rolled out in the month of February. This was exciting. Make sure to go check out the latest and the final episode featuring our lovely producer, Sarah, and our homie, Marcus. Again, our dating special is exclusively up on our Unfiltered Gems podcast YouTube page. So head over there. Make sure you're subscribed. I think we got to tell people, too, wherever you're listening to the podcast on platforms, make sure that you have the bell hit for notifications. If you're on Spotify, if you're on Apple, that way you don't miss an episode when we drop them. We drop them every single week, every Tuesday. Y'all know where we at. So without further ado, we want to get this pod started. Hale, you ready?
Let's get it.
Man, let's do it, brother.
Unfiltered Gems podcast. What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Ryan here.
And Malcolm.
Yes. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like Malcolm said, we got the dating special that's up and out. So head over to our YouTube and make sure you follow us everywhere on social media. Unfiltered Gems podcast is the @ so be sure to hit that follow button and that subscribe button as well. As what Malcolm said, hit the bell for notifications as well. But let's dive right into our first story, bro.
Man, let's do it.
Was not happy about that timeout. And Juwan Howard just threw a right hand.
Kind of cheap.
And now we got a scrum.
Kind of cheap.
We have a scrum in Madison.
Kind of a cheap shot.
Players are pushing and shoving. This is an ugly scene. This is an
It sounds like a UFC
UFC
match.
It really does. Here's my thing though. There's like not any blood drawn. I'm seeing no blood drawn.
But they said Juwan threw a right hand.
stems
Like there.
from the timeout by Greg Gard. Now that's not an excuse for this.
So it's not an excuse at all. Hell, can you set up really what happened here at this Wisconsin basketball game?
Yeah. Out in the cold.
I know it's cold as hell in Wisconsin. Look, I know it's cold in Wisconsin because
Oh
T-Pain
my
had to buy his
God.
girl a mansion. You know what I'm saying? I know it's cold in Wisconsin. I do.
Oh man. No, out in Wisconsin yesterday, Michigan was playing Wisconsin in basketball game, of course. And I guess late in the game, Wisconsin was up handily by like 14, 15 points. And Michigan was pressing them for some reason. And pressing just means pressuring them up the court, obviously. And then Wisconsin decided to call a timeout with like 5 to 10 seconds left. And so usually you would just let the clock run out, but for whatever reason, Wisconsin called the timeout. Game is over. They go down to shake hands as usual. And that's when this fight broke out. So Juwan Howard said in his post-game press conference that Wisconsin's coach shouldn't have put his hands on him, and that was uncalled for, and there was a lot of words going back and forth. He said during the post-game when they were shaking hands and everything like that, the Wisconsin coach said he was upset about the timeout I called. He shouldn't have been pressing. So it was crazy. It was crazy, as you heard in the audio. But since then, Juwan Howard has been suspended for the rest of the regular season. There's been some fines that's been handed out. A few players were also suspended for getting in there. But lots of people have been calling for Juwan's job for obviously hitting the assistant and how the altercation just kind of continued throughout. So what's your thoughts on it, man? Do you think the suspension is enough? Do you think he should be fired? What's your thoughts?
Well, look, y'all already know where I'm at. Okay, I'm rooting for everybody black. So naturally, I ain't gonna tell you to take away a black man's money. He'd have to do something real heinous. You know what I'm saying? All right, take it to the court of public Malcolm Alexander and take it to the fact that if you know, I'm saying there's plenty of things that I would say like take this black man's money. I ain't gonna say that for Mr. Howard. Quite frankly, I just am critiquing his shot. He really should have thrown it. You know what I'm saying? There was no blood drawn. I saw hands flying everywhere. I saw weaves flying across the court, and everybody came out of it looking cute. How the hell that happened? No clothes torn.
That's actually good for Juwan, because if they would have not come out with as clean as you said, then he probably would have lost his job. To be honest, if it
and I think it was
any worse than this.
I guess I just want to know like why. What really brought your anger to that? Because I think I really question professionalism, right? Everybody out on the court, everybody, no matter the sport, no matter the space, really, right? There's an air of professionalism that everybody has to take. I don't care if you the janitor for the arena. I don't care if you're the coach. I don't care if you're a player. I don't care if you're the hydration manager. That's always the part I play most times when I'm playing sports. A very
the water boy, the
hydration engineer for the team, right? But I really question professionalism, right? Everyone has a part to play, and maybe it's subjective, but I don't personally think that anybody should have to resort to violence. At least, especially if you're a coach, man, and the coach has to lead a team, has to lead a team by example. That's my thoughts.
That's true. That's true, and I 100% agree. The head coach has to lead by example. That's a good point, and I mean, the responsibility falls on his shoulders whether he likes it or not. Obviously, if it would have been a player that was involved in this altercation with the coach or another player on the opposing team, they would have been trying to take a scholarship. They would have been trying to do, I think, worse than just suspending him for a few games. So, Juwan is actually very lucky that he didn't lose his job, because a lot of people were calling for it. So we'll see how this plays out. Michigan is still on the bubble, so we don't even know if they'll actually make it to the tournament. But if they do, then that's probably the first time we'll see Juwan Howard back on the sidelines.
It'll be real interesting. You know what I'm saying? I want to hear. You know how they have the whisper cam. You feel me? And it's people assuming what did somebody say on
I wish he was mic'd up.
Man, I really wish he was mic'd up. Because honestly, I really wouldn't give a damn right here. I would have been like, throw that punch if the other coach was like,
You are so stupid.
yeah, nigga, I fucked your bitch. Be like, ow, bow. Like, I you know what I'm saying? It would have been a rap. Your mama cornbread dry. What you gonna say about my mama cornbread? Like, and I would, you know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta know. I want to hear him say, like, I want Juwan Howard to come forth and be like, that man said my wife's cooking is trash. Wouldn't he know she make the blessed black-eyed peas on the east side of the Mississippi River? You know what I'm saying?
Me, that would be hilarious, but it was nothing as outlandish as that.
Well, that's what I'm going to say to give Juwan Howard the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give my man the benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm rooting for everybody black. You know what I'm saying? I got to be, there can only be one pro-black one here on the show. Clearly, it's got to be me, okay? Unless I'm going to assume that coach said something just real outlandish. You know what I'm saying? To make him throw that.
I mean, I am with Juwan when he said it was uncalled for the Wisconsin coach to put his hands on him. I do agree with that. And especially in the society we live in now, it's always, black and white type of thing. And it didn't make it any better that it was a, black coach versus a white coach. But I don't think he should have put his hands on him. But I also don't think Juwan should have let it escalate to that point. I don't think it would have escalated. If you watch the video, you see right at the beginning, Juwan, points his finger in his face. And
oh, yeah.
It should have just kind of simmered down from there.
Hey, a coach has to
But to hit the assistant on the side of the head, to slap him like that, I mean, good God. I don't know.
Juwan was asking for it. He was asking for it.
Yeah, he was asking to be sitting at home with his wife.
He sure was.
For the rest of the season.
For the rest of the season. So we go see what happens there. It's real interesting.
Very interesting.
But let's keep it in the world of sports. Hell might be the resident sports authority, but I know sports ball. No, man, I want to actually change gears and let's talk the Olympics, man. I think has it ended or no? It ends next week. What the Beijing Olympics?
I think it ends. I want to say either this week or next week.
Right, something like that.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about an Olympian level athlete who is not at the Olympics, but deserves to be. Even though these are the Winter Olympics, so they wouldn't be doing track and field.
I was about to say she wouldn't be doing nothing out here.
There's nothing out of here. But I'm thrown off from the Olympics because we technically did it in the fall.
Yeah, but the COVID threw it all off.
The COVID, man. Yeah. So Sha'Carri Richards should have been at the
Summer Olympics.
At the Summer Olympics, which was last fall. Y'all got me messed up, but it's the Winter Olympics right now. But oddly enough, one of I forget which even country, right? But we're talking about Russia, right? Ooh, man, that's deep because we know what's going on with Russia right now. That's a whole different conversation point.
Yeah.
Y'all get ready. Your gas prices finna go up because Russia and Ukraine finna go to war, yo. I'm just saying. Like, I'm serious. Gas prices are going to go up. What? Russia's one of the world's second largest suppliers of fuel.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, it's our economy's about to get screwed with. But that's not the question, right? We do know that one of their athletes tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs, right? Do not have me trying to pronounce this. Just seeing them in these is what I said.
15 years old.
15 years old doing these kind of drugs?
I believe so.
Jesus.
Yeah.
But took a drug for increasing blood flow to the heart. Right? That would make it a performance-enhancing drug, where, as we all know what happened with Sha'Carri Richardson getting disqualified from the last summer's Olympics for using marijuana. Hale, your thoughts on why is this Russian Olympian still allowed to compete where Sha'Carri could not?
I honestly have no idea. I understood what people said back in the fall or summer, like you put it, when it came to Sha'Carri, even though she was dealing with a tough loss of her mom, like, unfortunately, that is still the rule. She still knew the rules. But the same rules should apply to this young Olympian from Russia as well. Like, she knew the rules, and if she did not know what was going on or what she was taking, because, some athletes don't necessarily always know what they're taking, or so they say.
Yeah.
So if that was the case, sadly, that's still the rule. You get what I'm saying? And I know they took this to some kind of court or something like that to even get this decision for her to continue to compete. So it was a big thing. But to me, and I just said this in the last segment, the society we live in today, it just looks bad because Sha'Carri, a black athlete, was criticized and pulled out of the Olympics for marijuana after a tough loss, like I said, of her
not
mother.
a performance-enhancing drug.
Exactly, which is also legal in a tons of states now that people are making money off of. But it's crazy, though, that she was not allowed to at least go and take this to trial so that they can see if she can compete like they did with the Russian. But now the Russian was able to compete, a few days even after testing positive for the PEDs. So to me, honestly, to answer your question, I don't really know. I don't know. It's definitely a double standard. It doesn't really make sense to me. But it is unfortunate for Sha'Carri, especially because this is not like a Super Bowl that comes around once a year. This is every 4 years. So now she has to prepare for the next 4 years to even get a chance to compete in those Olympics. So it's definitely unfortunate.
And what's even wilder is that I want to point it to race, right? It's so easy to just say, well, obviously, right? Sha'Carri's Black American. And you have this white woman, even though she's white European, white Russian. I did not realize that the woman was Russian, which leads me to believe that Big Daddy Vladdy had something to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, she is underage, and they're saying, our producer Sarah just let us know that they're saying that it was probably more the adults giving her something that she didn't know about, which, like I mentioned, that may have happened, especially since she's so young. But in my opinion, the rule still applies.
I would say, all I'm saying is right now, Vladimir Putin, Big Daddy Vladdy, he ain't taking no shit from nobody around the world right now. You know what I'm saying? No, I was literally just here that President Biden, for the next 10 days, is staying in the, the Situation Room.
Oh, wow.
As we are literally on an impending watch for what could be a serious war between Russia and Ukraine. Something like I'm just the conspiracy theorist here on the pod, right? I'm the Area 51, maybe potentially, but hey, follow me, my brother, Big Daddy.
You got that mental wealth, right?
I got mental wealth, baby. I'm telling you, man. I feel like a Russian president out here. Oh my God. Ain't no way he would let it happen. Ain't no way he would even let it happen. And precisely, I think that there had to be extreme influence from adults that were handling the administration of drugs to these young and underage athletes, which is incredibly unfortunate. But I think, as you said, does speak to a point of a double standard. And it's not fair it's really not fair to any of the athletes competing. So I am wishing Sha'Carri an incredible journey on her road to the next Olympics, which I hope that we get to see her. Because I think that we still have not get to see her compete on that level. We haven't had a chance to see what could potentially be one of the next fastest women in the whole world compete in this capacity. And I do hope that we do more work at really understanding and listening to young athletes. I commend heroes like Simone Biles and a lot of the American gymnastics team. Right, for revealing so much of what was happening with their coaches. And we know that it's not just the gymnastics coaches, right? There are still so many coaches and so many people around the Olympics that we don't know the abusive practices that they've actually had to partake in.
True.
Right?
Very true.
So I hope that we really get to see a fully realized Sha'Carri Richardson at the next Sha'Carri Richardson.
Yeah, Richardson,
right? Sha'Carri Richardson. I hope that we really do get a chance to see her at the next Olympics. And hopefully maybe the rules change too, right?
Yeah, true.
So, go ahead.
And even going back to what you said about just kind of protecting and listening to young athletes, hopefully this girl, because she is 15 years old, when we really look at it on a larger scale, she is still a young person who has to kind of learn life and being thrown in the spotlight like this. So hopefully she's okay. Hopefully she's not dealing with any kind of abuse or anything like that, like you mentioned with the U.S. gymnastics team. And that if she was unaware of what was being put in her body, that she somehow in some way has her parents or her guardians or whatever kind of take more ownership over that. So in the future, this doesn't happen.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Look, I want to take a quick break. We got to come back and we have to have an even more intense conversation. We have to have one of those uncomfortable conversations. Got to talk about Bill Cosby. Okay, so I want to give listener and viewer discretion that we'll be talking about sexual assault in the next segment, and want to give you that discretionary note. as we talk about someone in the black community, someone in the human community, someone in the American media landscape that no matter the trespasses cannot be ignored. His legacy cannot be ignored. And we have to have the hard conversation about it after the break. Stick around. Love is in the air, y'all.
Is it though? You'll be the judge as you watch our new 3-episode dating special premiering in February.
I've been shooting my shot in the DMs lately. Losing battle.
We are getting into the good and probably the bad of dating. It's going down exclusively on the Unfiltered Gems podcast YouTube channel.
So learn your lady's way of communicating.
Trust me, you don't want to miss it.
Unfiltered Gems, the podcast. Family and friends, my name is Malcolm Alexander.
And I am Ryan Hale.
Add Unfiltered Gems podcast everywhere. Hey, and even if you listen on Spotify, you can leave a rating now. You can also leave a rating on iTunes and or Apple Podcasts. So wherever you're listening, please leave us a review. Leave kind words. Give us the 5 stars, or if it's honestly less than that, don't leave a review at all. Thanks. Guys, we have to get down to I'm looking forward to this conversation. And it's going to be around someone who is incredibly important to the media landscape that we know it in the 21st century. Mr. Bill Cosby. Did you have a chance to check out the documentary, and aptly titled "We Need to Talk About Cosby"? Did you have a chance to check it out? Hell,
Watched all 4 parts.
what'd you think,
Yeah.
man?
First off, shout out to W. Kamau Bell. Wow,
Incredible
what
job.
an amazing,
He did an
amazing
incredible
job. Especially, I don't want to give too much away in the documentary, but if
Yeah.
you get a chance to watch it, you'll see how they had to kind of navigate with some of the current happenings of Bill Cosby towards the end of the documentary. But they did a fantastic job putting it together.
Yeah.
Um,
It's okay.
and I
There will be
say this.
spoilers. I think in this discussion,
Yeah,
I will
true.
be talking about things. So, spoiler
True.
alert. Just going to throw it out there.
I
If you've
will
not checked it out, please do.
Please do.
You can
I will
pause right now
say-
and come back to it.
Right. I have to say, though, that it was not what I was expecting as far as, I don't know. I guess I didn't know how they would approach it and how they would talk about it.
Yeah.
But they talked about it it was just well said. It was very, very honest. Very honest, needed dialogue
Yeah.
and conversation about somebody who gave a lot to the black community, but also took a lot in return.
Took
if
a
you look at it.
lot.
Yeah. Maybe a lot is not even doing it justice, to be honest.
Let's simply put it, this man's a monster.
Yeah.
The manipulation.
No questions about it.
The manipulation. The abuse. The narcissism. It can't go unnoticed. It can't go unsaid, right? I think that's why there's a lot of people as well that just can't even bring themselves to watch the documentary, right? Because there is going to be a level of reliving the trauma for victims or survivors of sexual assault, right? For people who even just have the knowledge of maybe friends being victims or survivors, right? I can understand why a lot of people would not even want to watch the documentary, right?
Right.
But the conversation that I want to frame right now isn't whether or not Cosby should be canceled, because I think it's really easy, right? Yeah, the man's done. I don't want to. I don't think anyone is here to say, let's see the man. I want to see a show. I want to see a stand-up from him. So for all intents and purposes, perhaps he is in the case canceled. It's not the conversation of whether or not to cancel him, right? But how now with someone like Bill Cosby? I think probably someone like a Harvey Weinstein even, right? Hell, quite frankly, someone even like Dr. Dre, who is being incentivized in pop culture, especially recently, despite his own monstrous trespasses with abuse. I want to know, how do we as black people and how do we as a society, how do we now cope with their legacy? And more than anything with Cosby, do we erase his legacy? Or is it a matter of coping? Hale, I want to know your thoughts.
I don't think it's a way to erase anyone's legacy, if we're being honest. But it's even harder to try to erase a legacy of a legend, if we want to keep it frank, of a monster, like you mentioned. It's very, very hard to erase that legacy, because, like I said, I mean, for those asking, oh, what did he do for the black community? I mean, he still to this day, I believe, has given the biggest donation to Spelman, which obviously, if you watch the documentary, you'll see the irony in that. But
I'm just like,
this is ridiculous.
I'm like, fuck that donation. I mean, my God,
it's crazy. But I mean, it's just crazy to think that, because there are, and they talked about this in the documentary, how he did put a lot of black stuntmen on, put a lot of
he's the reason that there was black-faced stuntmen.
Yep.
Even to portray black
before
women.
Bill Cosby.
Before Bill Cosby, but what I Spy was because he had such a role on that show and was so influential even at that time in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
He made a push for Hollywood to be inclusive as far as stuntmen and women, so that way there didn't have to be blackface.
Yeah.
You're still a monster.
And that's what I'm saying. It's hard to erase that legacy, because he did so much at such a high plateau. Mm-hmm. Like, he wasn't somebody that was just a one-hit wonder, if you will. You get what I'm saying?
Sure.
He's not and this is no disrespect to MC Hammer, but he wasn't just an MC Hammer.
Don't come at Hammer, okay? Like,
well, I'm just saying, MC wasn't around for a long time, but I mean, he was around. I'm just saying he's not like a one-hit wonder that we can just kind of easily sweep under the rug or forget.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Or it's sadly not like R. Kelly music, which we can just not play, or not decide to play, or don't play at weddings or events and stuff like that. Like, this is a guy who had, like you said, a thumbprint and an imprint on media as we know it.
Yeah. And incredibly valid point, Hale. So maybe the better question, right, is like, how are we coping with the legacy? And I think a documentary like this does give us a space to cope, right, because it takes the conversation. Right. My point, or maybe my argument for even coping with it, is making sure that we call it what it is. Like, we can't sweep that under the rug, man.
No.
We can't sweep it under the rug, because I think that's what's allowed for this behavior to become a pattern, even in many communities. But if I'm only just talking about, like, my folk and my people, like, how much do we sweep under the rug the monstrous and predatory practices within our own families?
Right.
It's disgusting, man. Yeah. And I still see people to this day defending Cosby. Still, it's scary. Mm-hmm. Not even people in my own family by any means, but just people that I see around. We have to call the abuse what it is. We have to call these people monsters.
Yeah.
And I can only think about how Janet Jackson had been blackballed from the Super Bowl for years for something that she didn't even freaking do technically.
Yeah. Who also just had an amazing documentary.
Incredible documentary, right?
Very, very different tone.
Completely different tone.
Don't want to compare those two at all. But you mentioned the Super Bowl thing, and she actually kind of spoke on that, and how that made her feel, unfortunately, and how she had an opportunity to go back again with Justin recently, and obviously chose not to. So no, you're 100% right.
We have to call it what it is, and it's very, very, very scary, right? Janet Jackson's blackballed, but Dr. Dre gets to even put that he's a misogynist and an abuser in his own movie, and still be invited to the Super Bowl. It's beyond hypocrisy. It's really disgusting.
Yeah.
And so I mentioned Dre even within the context of Cosby, because it's like, it's two people that you can't ignore that legacy. You can't ignore the work. You can't ignore the body of work or how they've impacted culture. Yeah. But then how are we giving ourselves space, especially in the black community, to cope with it, right? And I think the best way to do that is to make sure that we don't create further monsters like this, by making sure that we are as honest as we fucking can be. And I know it's crass, and I know it's like no one ever wants to hear the guy say like, oh, this person's a monster, right? People hated on me because I said my comments on the Chappelle thing, but I'm like, call it what it is, man. If we're really trying to protect and care for our community.
Yeah.
Because that documentary really showed how scary and narcissistic
very much so
what Cosby was doing behind the scenes. That's scary as hell.
Yeah. Even the stories of
my God.
Yeah. Even the stories of what was happening on set of the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
And what he would do on breaks, and how he would pull girls aside to come to his office and have lunch with them. It was just, none of it is okay. And somebody said on there that he obviously had a lot of help in doing this, or getting away with this, or keeping this hidden, because you don't do this to such a large degree without anybody knowing.
Yeah.
And you're 100% right. There are some other people who need to be brought to trial for this as well.
Yeah, no,
I was going to say doing time, but Bill Cosby's out now. So
if you knew, you're still a monster,
right?
Just to even have the knowledge and be able to sit back silent,
let alone, like they said, the assistant who was possibly an accomplice, who was kind of helping him sneak these models in after shows and stuff like that. It was just
and not to mention
insane.
This year trauma. Like, I consider like Lisa Bonet and reasons why she didn't want to continue doing a different world after the first season. And of course, Bill Cosby shamed her for having a child. Shout out to Zoe, we love you. But you know what I'm saying? Outside of sincerely like shaming, right, young pregnancy, my heart really goes out to not just the victims, but the people that felt silenced by him, right? Yeah. Like when we say believe women and believe black women, it's like my heart just really goes out to the people who were too scared to even say something because of the manipulation and that fear within the zeitgeist. And I feel like it's similar, not just with Cosby, but with a lot of these monsters and a lot of these abusers, right? So calling it out where it's at is going to be the I think one of the, maybe a turning point for how we can potentially cope. I'm not a professional with this in any way, but seeing that documentary opened my eyes. And as you opened up this conversation with, shout out to W. Kamau Bell, because he did that. He did that.
Yeah. That's
I think my favorite 100%. Part was when Mark Lamont Hill, and I love Mark Lamont Hill.
Same.
Pretty much, called out Bill Cosby for being a monster, right? For calling out the not so PhD that Bill Cosby had.
He said he called me Mr. Hill, and I'm a real doctor.
Yeah, he called me Mr. Hill, and I'm a real doctor. And all he said was, Bill Cosby looked at him and said, Mr. Hill, am I fucking with you? And I think hearing that, I'm just like, can you imagine Cosby, right? Because he was the clean comedian and all this, and right? I'm almost okay for a movie about him if we can actually really show the monster side of him, because that would be nuts. Because people just can't even imagine him as that, right? But to hear Bill Cosby go to Mark Lamont Hill and say, Mr. Hill, am I fucking with you? And he goes, then why are you fucking with me? That was my favorite part of the documentary. I was like, this man.
Bro, but the part where he said he wasn't looking at me, he turned his back to me. I'm just like, Jesus. Said, oh my
goodness. Man is a whole monster, yo. A whole monster, crazy, man. So if you have it in your heart, if you can stomach it, please check out the documentary on, I think it's Showtime. We need to talk about Cosby. It's
definitely worth the watch.
It's definitely worth the watch, and would love to know your thoughts on how we cope with the monsters in our community. How do we cope with legacy, an influential legacy of some people, right? We cannot, it's okay to not watch The Cosby Show, right? But the man touched a little bit more than just that one show. So how do we cope with that? I want to switch gears and talk about another documentary. You already know how I feel about talking about Kanye.
Yeah, boy. That's your boy.
But There is the Genius documentary that is out on Netflix. And man, what are your thoughts on this documentary, right? Because I think soon enough we're gonna be having to grapple with Kanye and himself being a monster, because he's definitely just a harassing asshole at the moment.
Oh man, Kanye's he's just a lost guy. But this documentary thankfully shows his come up and how he was grinding to get where he is now, and the struggle at the beginning of trying to get signed and all of that stuff. So the first part of the documentary was amazing in my opinion.
Yeah.
It was crazy to kind of see his grind, his work ethic, his belief in himself. It was special seeing his relationship with his mom, those conversations. Yeah. That was cool. And then how he kind of slowly but surely started ascending. And I think we'll see through these next couple parts where he goes from there, obviously. But I think it was good. The worst part, in my opinion, is the narration by Cootie. I think his name is. God,
yeah.
That dude's voice is so annoying.
Oh, stop it. Why you hate on Cootie? I love it.
Well, I'm just being honest with you, man. He sounds like he should be narrating something on Animal Planet or something. I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to watch Kanye become great. I'm not trying to listen to something on the History Channel.
Oh, my
good God. Oh, goodness. He said, and I knew, and it was at that moment that I knew that our lives might change. And I saw how Donda talked to Kanye. And I was just like, man, I love the grind from Kanye. I said, man, if you don't shut up, they couldn't have called Morgan or something for this.
Wow. No, he needed Cootie. I want justice for Cootie. You ain't gonna rip my nigga Cootie apart like this.
Bro, when they said
it sounded like the homie was talking about your life. Hell, see, I was gonna ask you to narrate my documentary, because you know I've been having the cameras on this whole time.
Oh,
but you know what?
Trust me, I would narrate that way better than Cootie. Believe me. Believe me.
No.
Oh man.
I'm calling Cootie instead to narrate mines. I'm calling Cootie instead. Hell, I thought you was really down, but you talking mess on my dog Cootie.
When they said Cootie was a stand-up comedian at first, before he gave it all up to start filming a documentary, I said I could not imagine.
Wow, you a hater. No, I think my biggest takeaway was it contextualized more of the turning point for Kanye's career, from what was a man who had abundant faith in God and the foresight and the manifestation power to create this grandiose life he has, and the textbook narcissist that we know today, and that's being when his mother died. And I know that we keep, us as a black community, we've always been saying that, but it's been beautiful to see. I'm almost glad I watched it, despite my disdain for who Kanye is now, because it gives me hope that hopefully he can find that love that his mother gave him somehow. Kim was never going to be the one that gave it to him.
I did not get that takeaway at all. I don't know how, and I'm interested to hear how you maybe,
because the scenes between him and his mom.
Yeah, but I'm saying, how do you think he'll find that love again?
Oh, no. I'm saying that's speculation. I said I hope he finds the love. I don't think the documentary showed me. What it showed was, like, again, and we know it's relationship with his mom. I'm saying, like, I hope he can find,
I get what you're saying,
that energy again, right? And Kim was never going to give that to him, right? And I know this sounds so terrible, but after every kid, I kept getting more worried and worried. Because you're a self-fulfilling prophecy. 18 years. And producer Sarah was trying to call my ass out because she was saying that during karaoke, I was the only songs I was rapping. And yeah. I was. Right? See? But it's like, that's
his boy.
But this is who the person is, right? This person right now.
Yeah.
And after every single child, I'm like, damn, 18 years. Here you are. You're stuck here. And it's like, I don't know if it's going to be his kids getting older that reinforce that love that Donda gave him, but I really like how the documentary highlighted that, because I think we got to see Donda in a much more human form, because I think we only ever hear of the energy of her, and no one in recent years, in the past decade, right? She passed God, I was in over 13, 14 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
You know what
Tragically, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. It wasn't like a plastic surgery or something like that?
I think, yeah, it was a surgery kind of gone wrong. It was a medical procedure gone wrong. Sad. So it's really hard, and I think it almost maybe just contextualizes maybe where Kanye is now, and I maybe hope that maybe there's a way that it provides more support. You know? Yeah. Sarah's saying that she was getting lipo with a janky doctor.
Mm. Damn, very sad.
It's very sad, man. Very sad. But if y'all have not peeped it, peep it. And we want to know your thoughts as well on the Kanye documentary. What we'll do, we will take a quick break, and then we'll bring the show back. We're going to switch gears because one of my favorite television shows is coming back, and one of the most impactful cartoon series is ending about the time that we are recording. And so we want to talk about some of our favorite cartoons growing up right here on Unfiltered Gems, man. Stick around.
Do you like incredible musical performances and engaging conversations? Well, we've got both of those things for you right here at Mental Notes Live, the talk show focused on giving you tools to grow your faith, mindset, and progress. Hosted by yours truly, Ryan Hale. Be sure to follow us everywhere on any social media platform at Mental Notes Live, and go catch up on all of our previous episodes by visiting mentalnoteslive.com.
Unfiltered Gems podcast. Your boys, what's good? I'm Malcolm Alexander.
And I'm Ryan Hale.
We got to talk about the nostalgia, right? Nostalgia just, it big winning at all time. We got to talk about cartoons, y'all. As some of y'all might know, Arthur is ending after 25 years, man. And it's not too often that we get to see cartoons go that long. And I think definitely cartoons that have gone that long, right? Shout out to the theme song. Do you know the artist on the theme song?
I do not.
Wyclef, Fire.
Oh, okay.
Fire. Like, it's just a fire record. I fucking love the theme song to Arthur.
It's a fire record.
It's a fire record, man. Get that shit a Grammy. I fucking love the Arthur theme song. Do you also know what kind of animal Arthur is?
I'm an aardvark.
Damn right.
Right?
Damn right, an aardvark. Okay? Niggas need to recognize an aardvark. Real.
I heard it. I learned that while watching Planet Channel. That was narrated by Cootie. So, full circle.
I cannot stand you. I damn near thought for a minute. I said, did Cootie really narrate a? Oh my God! I can't stand you. You an asshole. Justice for Cootie. I'm not doing this, man. I'm really not. No, you know, man. Sarah. Thank you so much. This was a vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Every day when you're walking down the street.
Hey, look, I really don't want to get a copyright on the episode, so I have to turn it off quick. But that's my shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Production was fire. Chance the Rapper actually did a cover of that shit that he was touring for a minute. It went to like you cannot beat the theme song to Arthur. Okay. But incredible work for a show lasting that long and teaching that many lessons. I think a lot of us grew up with Arthur just around. Whether or not you watched it, you knew Arthur. You know what I'm
100%.
saying? And so we want to talk about our favorite cartoons growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, you pegged me as somebody who never watched a cartoon a day in your life.
Well, you're wrong.
Because you were born looking like this.
Huh. Interesting. Was born beautiful. Thank you, Malcolm. No, man, I loved cartoons growing up. We were talking about it earlier about Nickelodeon. Those were most of the show. I'm lying though, because I watch a lot of Cartoon Network too. Just off the top of my head, man. Wow, Johnny Bravo was big for me.
Hubba. Yeah.
Doug.
Doug
oh man, I
great.
love Doug.
Oh my gosh.
Dexter's Lab.
Ooh, get out of my laboratory. DD.
Love that show.
Oh my shit. I love Dexter.
Man, Rocket Power was clutch for me for a while.
Come on, woogity. Come on, baby.
I can't forget about one of my favorite cartoons growing up. Hey Arnold.
Oh,
Hey
come
Arnold
on.
was classic.
Come
Man,
on.
I loved
yes.
Hey Arnold.
Come on, football head.
Loved Hey Arnold.
Yeah, Hey Arnold was awesome.
Rugrats.
Yeah.
Rugrats was just okay to me, actually. But I did watch it. Those are all I can think of off the top of the head. Oh, Proud Family, of course. I don't know. New Proud Family episodes coming up, or series is coming up.
Yes.
And shout out to my girl Joyce Rice. I've been trying to put people on to her. She's doing a new theme song.
She's singing the theme song.
Yeah. So, Proud Family was obviously a hit as well.
Yeah.
What about you?
Oh boy, you really hit like all of them. I think the only way that I can share mine, right? You already know I'm a nerd, right? So
True.
I love a Static Shock.
Oh, I didn't think about that. That was clutch too.
I love me. Ooh, you know what? I'm actually gonna take it to Disney. And remember Roly Poly Oly?
You know, I do know what that show is. I never got into
Roly
it.
Poly Oly was my shit. Okay, but that that's some
into
real young shit. Let's take it over to Cartoon Network. Courage the Cowardly Dog was my shit.
Oh, see, I never
Love
liked
Courage the
it.
Cowardly Dog. Samurai
I watched
Jack.
it, but I wasn't a big fan.
Oh, dude, Courage the Cowardly Dog was my shit. I'm sorry. Like, it used its badge. Like, I loved. Oh my God, Courage the Cowardly Dog was amazing.
That's funny.
Samurai Jack was the GOAT. Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's like newer, but
Yeah.
Oh my God, everything there was never a bad Avatar episode. Like I just adored that series. Yeah. And then I'm definitely gonna say Proud Family for sure.
Yeah, got to.
Like Proud Family was incredible, and I'm so freaking excited for the Proud Family louder and prouder, acting like they paying me to promote this show right now. But
You are right.
but let me tell you, man, I am so hyped to watch this cartoon. I've not been hyped to watch a cartoon. Like I'm rewatching like Clone Wars right now for Star Wars.
Oh, wow.
I'm just in a Star Wars hole right now for real. But and then of course I rewatch I keep Static Shock on all the time because it's on HBO Max. Of course Dexter. Like I'll still rewind Johnny Bravo. Oh, Ed and Eddie. We ain't even bring up Ed and Eddie. Oh my God. Like man, I was a cartoon kid for sure. Right?
Did you ever watch Thundercats?
Yeah, I did watch Thundercats.
I loved that.
Yeah. Thundercats was crazy.
Thundercat.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that was such a great show.
Yeah, no, it was fire. Of course, like
Great show.
the animated Spider-Man, X-Men Evolution. Like I feel like any superhero show, I was probably like all over.
Eyes glued to the TV.
Oh my God, man! Like I like anything on Kids WB, early mornings. You know, on Saturday morning, like Saturday morning cartoons. For sure. Like that was my bag. But I nostalgically rewatch cartoons right now. But there aren't too many animated shows, and I'm not including anime because there are like newer animes that come out that I watch, but I'm not going to include anime here. If we're just talking about like cartoons, I'm hype. I don't think there's one current cartoon that I really I don't. I mean, I know Rick and Morty, but I don't be watching it. Sorry, y'all. I know we were like, but hey, bite me, okay? I know what's going on, Rick and Morty, okay? But bite me. Sorry, it ain't gonna happen, okay? But I'm excited for Proud Family, man. I'm excited to see what they do to you know, bring this story into a new generation, and it's just gonna be great. And it also leads me to think about a conversation piece for even talking about our favorite cartoons, as far as what does it mean to have inclusive and representative animated series for the youth, right? Where was the first time that you actually saw yourself represented in animation form growing up?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I honestly want to say, are we just talking about a character or a whole show?
Let's say character.
First character that comes to mind is his name just escaped my memory. Hey Arnold's best friend.
Oh, Reggie? No, wait.
It's like Gerald or
Gerald? Yeah.
Gerald, yeah. Gerald. So that's one of the first ones that
I said
comes
Reggie.
to mind, 'cause
Definitely
I can't think
Gerald.
of yeah.
Reggie's
from Rocket Power.
Yes, there we go. Look. But there are black characters around.
Yeah.
Yes.
True. So yeah, that's the first one that I can think of that I was like, oh, dope, a black boy. Static Shock, of course.
Yeah.
A black superhero. That was huge. But outside of that, the Proud Family is probably the one that stands out to me when it comes to just like a full black family. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And actually having like the conversations too.
Right.
And having the conversations like they have the conversations about race. They have the conversations about, civil rights, and they had like that's what was really awesome about I think about the Proud Family, is because they actually brought those conversations that I think families, even young families, were having. Young, with the kids and with the parents, right? I think it brought those conversations that we were having actually to animated form and catered it to the youth, right? And had us asking those questions for us. And it was really cool to see like young Black culture and like LA family culture, like having like Big Boy, if I remember, like the hip hop helicopter. That was actually the radio host Big Boy that, was out here in LA. And so it's like so much of it was such a Black show. I think everybody has a Dijonay. Everyone has a La Cienega,
100%.
right? Everyone has a Sticky. Like everyone has a Zoe. You know what I'm saying? Like we have some gross sisters. We had some gross sisters like at our school, right?
Yeah.
And everyone had a Penny Proud. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think whether you were a girl or a guy, it's like I think anyone growing up can see themselves in a Penny Proud, right? As you traverse the youth, right? And it just makes me think, because I would say the same thing. Proud Family was one of those shows that I really saw representing myself and having conversations at such a young age. The music on it, right? Like they had Destiny's Child on it at one point. Like all the cameos, right? It was just so special. Not to mention, Destiny's Child, sang for a song that Solange wrote. And sang on, just so we know, the original Proud Family theme song, which is awesome, because if you get a chance to ever see Solange, sometimes she will perform the Proud Family theme song, and it's so dope. It's so fire if you get a chance to see it.
I believe it.
And so I do think about that, man. It was such an important show, and I'm just super, 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 super excited for the return of Proud Family, Louder and Prouder, which is going to be on Disney Plus. So y'all should run us some money.
Stupid.
With us promoting that much, okay? Well, I want to switch gears real quick as we bring the pod to a close. Got to talk about the recent passing of Jamal Edwards, a pioneer in the UK music scene, especially when it comes to using his online platform or his previous YouTube show to bring UK grime music to the mainstream within Europe, and which, quite frankly, went all around the world. Yeah. Along with doing that, he was responsible for the careers of the likes of Rita Ora, Ed Sheeran, Jessie J, just to name a few of maybe like the big wigs, right, from the UK scene that have been able to kind of cross the pond, if you will, is what some of them say. And that really had me thinking about grime music, but also Mayor Adams' comments on drill music, right? Grime music being an advent of drill music, and it really just had me kind of thinking of his recent comments and wanting to know whether or not drill music or even grime music, is it actually healthy for us as a community? Probably doesn't help that it's also AKA kill music.
Right.
An AKA there. But I think it's a really good talking point as far as our responsibility as a people, as listeners of drill music or just music period, and what it means as a consumer. What does that mean for us consuming the music? Because he did bring up naturally, I think, what a lot of like conservative parents bring up, right? Well, the violence in the music, y'all shouldn't be listening to it, right? But it comes a time that we really have to face it. Hell, I want to know, do you somewhat agree with the mayor of New York City as far as wanting to get rid of drill music?
Yes, in a way I do agree. I heard Van Lathan kind of talk about this on his podcast, Higher Learning.
Yeah.
And kind of talking about a similar thing. And he kind of said, I'm kind of echoing his sentiments here, because I get that drill music for a lot of people is more big in ages that are a lot younger than us. You know what I'm saying? So maybe like, 15 to 18, 15 to 19-year-olds, things of that nature. But it talks a lot, like you said, it's AKA kill music, and they talk a lot about people they've killed and what they did and all that stuff. And I just don't think that's productive for society. We just talked about black representation in cartoons and having those conversations.
Yeah.
I just think that is kind of counteractive to that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And counterproductive to what we're trying to do as a community and as a society. So, Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I don't really even know any drill music songs, if I'm being honest with you. Had to do a little research on actually what it was. I felt old looking that up.
Oh no!
But yeah.
Well, it's
but
funny because
yeah,
I found myself. It's funny how the music in itself works, right? Because a lot of it actually started with drill music out of Chicago, right? So like, yeah, you have your like Chief Keefs and the artists in Chicago that kind of start drill music, right? Drill music at the time, it took off and then it didn't really go anywhere, but where it went, it was actually to the UK, right? And so then that's where the grime scene comes out of, right? So you have like your Skeptas and your H's and even Stormzy, like at one point was grime. He's a lot more like on the pop side now. But then bubbling up at the same time was the Brooklyn drill scene, right? And that's where now you get your like Fabio Foreigns and you get your Pop Smokes. And even when you consider Southern rap having elements, and I think a lot of drill music or took a lot of inspiration from Southern rap music, right? And a lot of that production. It comes to a point that I understand that even gangster rap, especially drill music, right? These are the stories. These are the lived experiences of people in the hood, right? This is us putting it on wax. This is the life. This is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to call it what it is, right? We are glorifying violence at some point. We are glorifying misogyny at some point. And the trauma is not our fault, right? Because you can blame it. We can point the blame. We can. Why is the hood the way it is? Across the world, whether it's UK, whether it's America, whether it's California, New York, Oakland, Ohio, whatever it is. We can point it to white patriarchy. We can point it to white supremacy. We can point it to colorism and racism and the reverberations of slavery and institutionalized racism. We can point it there. And I'm going to damn myself that it's right.
Right.
So the trauma is not our fault when it comes to the stories and what makes the cultural zeitgeist what it is when it comes to the content of the music. But the healing is our responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And so I found myself, a fan of some of the music, but I do hear it. And I think after a whole pandemic in the past few years of artists that we've seen die at the hands of violence.
Exactly.
And am I saying young artist, including who I just mentioned, Pop Smoke, right?
Yep.
Dolphin itself, that's a product of gang violence.
Mm-hmm.
So when is enough for us? I just really I wonder that right now. When is enough going to be enough? And I think, how do we cope with that violence in a healing way? Because we are losing a lot of our young brothers.
Right.
Even recently, there's been an artist that's lost a girlfriend because she was just caught in crossfire.
Sad, man.
And the music does glorify it, right? So it's time that we got to face it. And what does that look like? And maybe that's just a rhetorical question that we get to leave y'all with this week. But just the conversations and some of the questions that I'm holding into the back of my head as we make sure that we develop more answers and have more conversations about how we can be free.
Right.
For real.
100%.
Hell, you got anything else?
100%. I don't, man. I don't. Very well said. Definitely a question that we as a black community especially need to think about, but as a society as well, because it's not just black people who support and help grow this music platform. So definitely something to think about.
For sure. Well, that's it for another episode of Unfiltered Gems, okay? We want to hear from you, man. What do y'all want more of? What do y'all want less of when it comes to the podcast? At Unfiltered Gems Podcast everywhere. Even hit us on the email, unfilteredgemspodcast@gmail.com, okay? Hit us, man. Let us know what you guys want from the show. Let us know where you're listening from. And let us give, we want feedback right now. We're here to grow the best show for you, the listener, okay? So thank you so much. We're at Unfiltered Gems Podcast everywhere. Make sure that you're subscribed wherever you're at. Leave us a rating on whatever platform you're on. We really do appreciate it. As always, my name is Malcolm Alexander.
And I'm Ryan Hale. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.